Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Jamie, aka Rick here, bringing you part 31 of my GTA4 Let's Play. In this episode, as you see, I go to the museum to meet Johnny, we're doing the diamond deal, so we've got the diamonds, meeting up with these people. I think it's Isaac, it's the head guy there, that we're talking to, and obviously he's got money for us, so to buy the diamonds. So it seems to go alright to start with, and then after a little while someone springs up at that window behind just there and starts taking them down, so obviously they think we've done it, but we haven't planned anything. It's just me and Johnny here, well, as far as I know at the moment anyway. So yeah, there's obviously a big shootout follows throughout the museum. I have to fight my way out basically. Johnny seems to escape without being shot. He just runs off, so it's a bit weird. There you go, there's the guy at the window. But yeah, so it just seems a bit strange how he just runs off and I have to shoot my way out for quite a few minutes, But that's cool, I don't mind it. Get quite a few headshots and stuff, so it's always good. But yeah, so after that happens, I get out to the front and there's some more cars out there. So I take out some more people and then I escape. And then I go back to see Ray again. Obviously he's not fantastically happy by this, so first of all he sends me out to see Johnny, or try and find Johnny and the bikers and that, see where the money's gone. So yeah, I go to this place where some bikers hang out basically, but Johnny's not there, but for some reason I chase down and kill the bikers anyway, weren't my choice, I got told to do it, so I did that, which was, quite eventful on a bike. It was quite fun. Haven't got to ride many bikes so far during this story, but no, it was a good experience. And then go back to see Ray again after doing that, and he sends me to this hotel where Isaac's staying to obviously try and find the diamonds. Seems we haven't got the money. He thought maybe we'll get the diamonds back, or find the money there as well. You don't know. So I go there. I have to kill quite a lot of these people to get to him, which it's all fun. I choose to save another man, someone he works with, so it wasn't his deal apparently, so I thought I'll be fair, I'll let him go. So again, that's another choice, another good choice. I think that's 3 people now I've saved. There was the one right at the start for Vlad, and there was that Dwayne's ex-girlfriend, and now this guy. So that's 3 good decisions I've made throughout this story, which, it's good. I'm quite a good guy, when I want to be. What else? Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So I obviously go to the hotel, kill Isaac, and there's no diamonds or money there. So, and Nico, starts getting a bit impatient with Ray, and in general, I think, because obviously he's just doing a lot of running around. He's asking favours from people in return. But so far they haven't really come up with anything, so he's growing impatient with Liberty City in general. I think the fact that he was promised all this stuff by Roman at the start, and then he's got there and he's had to work like crazy to actually get, well, he's got nowhere really, but to try and keep your head above water and all that. So that's pretty much what happens in this video. I mean, it's quite a long video, so there's a lot of shooting involved, which GTA is kind of what it's made for. But yeah, in this video I'm going to be talking about films that are coming soon or just been released that I really want to go and see. Firstly, it's obviously X-Men has been released a couple of days ago, maybe about a week. I'm not exactly sure, but I definitely want to see that, whether it's at cinema or whether I wait until it comes out on DVD. I'm not really sure yet, because I've got all the other X-Men's on DVD. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Marvel in general. I mean, Iron Man and all the other ones they've brought out. Captain America soon. That's another one I'm going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, I mean, they are fantastic, the Marvel films in general. I think that there's a lot more potential, obviously, because there's a hell of a lot of Marvel comics, a hell of a lot of heroes and villains. So I'm sure that as they keep going, they'll bring in more of the heroes, more of the villains from the comics, and then in the end they'll probably have a film for each comic, I would imagine. So people watch them. Everyone loves Marvel. I mean, some people don't go as far as collecting all the comics, but if you go to someone Marvel, then they'll kind of know what you mean. I mean, there's obviously some people that don't know what that is, but that's a minority, I would imagine, by now. A lot of people read comics when they were younger, like my parents used to read comics and stuff. Not so much anymore, I don't think. Not many people read comics anymore. If they are, they're like kind of football magazines and not as much comics nowadays. But, you know, I think most people know what Marvel is, either because of the comics when they were younger. The cartoons, that was where I first experienced it. The X-Men cartoon when I was younger was absolutely amazing. I watched it all the time. And now films, I think, is where it's coming. So they've adapted, I think, to their audience quite a lot, because obviously a long time ago everyone used to read comics, there weren't much TV and stuff, so that was the best medium for their content. And then it moved to TV, and I think a lot of people used to watch TV, obviously. So used to sit at home, you know, their BBC or whatever. And when Sky first came out, they jumped on that, got their own like a channel with loads of their programs on. I think that was great. And now it's kind of shifted again to films, which personally, I'm not complaining. I love watching films. I go to cinema probably about once, twice a month if I can. If not, you know, I'll always buy a DVD every month. I mean, it's just something I do. I watch films all the time. Probably watch a good 3 or 4 films a week. Maybe 2. Sometimes 2 to 4. I'll give you a little bit of a broader gap. But yeah, it's quite a lot of films, so I think that step is in the right direction, most definitely, for them. But yeah, so X-Men. I mean, I'm a huge fan of X-Men. I always have been. I mean, it's just something that it's probably one of the most common, one of the things I watch the most. X-Men and Spider-Man, probably the two. But yeah, obviously Wolverine's probably my favourite character out of the not the favourite. Actually, yeah, favourite character. That's exactly the description I want to say. It's not my favourite superpower or whatever they want it, favourite mutant, but he's my favourite character just because we've got the information about him, whereas we haven't with other characters. I mean, we had X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was his whole background story. You kind of got to know why he's like he is, and you know, how he got the old. Well, he always had his mutation, but he wasn't casting metal the whole time, obviously. So at the start of Origins, he's obviously got the bone hands, and they're not as strong. But after he gets the old metal all over his bone structure, obviously he becomes a lot stronger. And obviously, to start with in X-Men, I didn't know that he wasn't like that from the start. I never thought maybe he didn't always have metal on him. You know, I didn't think that. And then it came, I think it was X-Men 3 where he started having the flashbacks, or X-Men 2. He started having the flashbacks about being put in that little pit and being covered in metal and stuff. But still then, I didn't know that he still had the claws and that. Obviously he had the healing, I knew that because that wasn't affected by the metal. But I didn't know he had the claws before. I just thought that was something they'd put in when he was covered in metal. But it was nice to know that bit of background story. And I think this one, the new one, First Class, is obviously Magneto and Professor X, their origins, kind of. So I think that would be really interesting because obviously Professor X is always there, you know, he's got that telekinesis power and he's in a wheelchair. How did he get in that wheelchair? How did he realise that he had these powers? You know, it's things you ask. And Magneto, again, how did he find out that he could control metal? How did he meet Professor X? How did he, you know, come up with the helmet design to block Professor X's telekinesis powers? Things like that. I've always wondered, and it seems that I'm about to find out that when I go and see his film, which I'm really, really looking forward to. Might not see it at cinema, I'm not sure yet. Haven't got too much money at the moment, but you know, it's something that I can hope to see in the near future. What else? Obviously Harry Potter. Some people don't like Harry Potter, but I imagine the vast population nowadays does. Maybe not everyone's read the books, which I personally have. I've read them all front to back many times. I mean, I'm still reading them today. Obviously not the last one because I know the story kind of, but I don't want to know it exactly. So when I go to the cinema and see it, I like, oh yeah, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, because it kind of ruins the film. But yeah, so I'm reading, I think, number 3 at the moment, Prisoner of Azkaban. It's very good. I mean, they're all brilliant books. It's J.K. Rowling is an absolute genius of a writer for these books. But yeah, so Harry Potter, the last one, is the concluding part of the whole series of Harry Potter, which is, it's going to be a bit of a shame. I mean, I've enjoyed all the films that I've brought out up to now, so that's, you know, it's been enjoyable to go and see them at the cinema. I've seen every single one at the cinema, some of them twice, as I always go with my family, and I've occasionally been with friends and stuff, so I've always been seeing them at the cinema. I mean, last one, Deathly Hallows Part 1, I went to see on release night, which was a lot of fun. I mean, there was big queues and that, but it's a good experience because everyone's obviously there for the same thing. Everyone wants to see it on release night. So yeah, that was a hell of a lot of fun. But yeah, I expect obviously this is going to be my favourite one, because I think the last book was my favourite book. I don't know if it's just because of the fact that so much happened in the last book. I think that's why they've had to split it into 2 bits, because there is a vast amount of stuff that happens in the last book, and a lot of important stuff as well. I'm not going to say anything like spoiler wise, in case you haven't read the books and you want to go and see the film without knowing what it's about. I'm not going to say anything, but all I'm going to say is, if they go by the book, which I'm sure they are because they have done so far, it's going to be fantastic. This is probably going to be the best one out of all of them so far, just because of the fact the book is so good. So really looking forward to that. Obviously the whole Harry Potter world, I think, really interests me, because it is the fact that it's like a normal world, but there is just these people that not necessarily have the magic in them, but get the chance to go to a school where they can practice magic, and magic exists, you know, that kind of thing. I think it's that fantasy that draws me into it. I think I'm a huge fan of fantasy. Obviously most of the games I play are fantasy. I mean, World of Warcraft, it's not like insanely fancy, but it is kind of, because you've got these people that can use these spells, you know, have these certain powers and all that sort of stuff. I mean, that alone is an intense fantasy, and like, if that was to happen, it would be awesome, you know. I'd be a huge fan of it, but you know, it's never gonna, so but it's just that thought that it could be real, you know, that draws me in, I think, and attracts me to films and games like that, have a good fantasy, you know, to them. Everyone loves a fantasy game, I'm sure. But yeah, again, Final Fantasy is huge fantasy series. Obviously it's in the name as well, but it's just the fact that there's this group of people who have these powers, you know, that can call upon like a sword, like Lightning in the new one. She's like got all these magical powers, and she does beast damage with a sword, and like, you know, it's just that experience of tasting that fantasy for that short period of time, where you're either playing the game or watching the film. It kind of draws you into it. I think that's the idea of fantasy in general. It's got to draw the viewer or player, whatever. It's got to draw it in, because that is the idea. You've got to feel immersed into the world, and I think that is the hardest aspect of a fantasy game to get, or a film. You've got to get the atmosphere to feel like right, and you've got to have an interesting enough topic to draw the viewer in. So yeah, I think that's good. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love Harry Potter. That's one of the reasons I love X-Men, just for the sheer fact that it will never happen, but if it did, it would be awesome. Another film like that is Transformers 3. Again, a cartoon I watched a hell of a lot when I was younger. I literally, most days we watched some kind of cartoon. It was either like Transformers, Spider-Man, X-Men, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, something like that. And Transformers is amazing. I mean, the films, when the first one came out, it was, I don't know, I was speechless. Like, the first time I saw the transformation from the car to the robot, I could not believe it. It was amazing graphic design, and obviously, just as time goes on, they're going to get better and better, because technology is improving every day. Everyone knows that. It's just something that happens. But the transformations were amazing when the first one came out, and I don't really know how they can get better, but obviously it's going to look more realistic and more realistic every time, because just the simple fact that everything's improving. But yeah, so that was a huge aspect of the film. That's why I found it so great in the first place. That first, glimpse of the transformation, and then as the film grew, like as the first one went on and the second one, they just got so creative with those animations. Like, I think one of them is Starscream. He jumps up in the air, like does a backflip, transforms into his aeroplane and just shoots off really quickly. I mean, it's not simple, I'm not going to say that, but it looks like it's a simple idea. The fact that he backflips, changes into his aeroplane and zooms off. It's just the whole way they've done it in the film was just outstanding. I mean, I'll try and find a clip of it if I can and put it in the description, but I can't promise anything. I mean, but I will try if I can find a clip like that of him doing that. I think it was Starscream anyway. It might not have been. It might have been another flying transformer, but I think it was that. But yeah, so Transformers 3, really looking forward to it. I mean, the story of the films is awesome. The fact that this one character is actually more involved with the robots than he knows. It all starts with that pair of glasses, I think, that he puts up on eBay, and they obviously need them to find the Allspark. I think it is. So, that's it finds the location of the Allspark, doesn't it? Yeah, I think that's awesome how this not little kid, but like I think he's like teenager. He's just about to go to university. Has this huge experience with these robots from another planet. I mean, not everyone can say that they've done that. I mean, you see him grow as a character as well through the first and the second film. I mean, at the start, he's quite immature. He doesn't really know what he's doing with these robots. But by the end of the first one and throughout the second one, he's kind of got used to the fact that these robots are around and they're talking to him. And it's just the whole fact that he's kind of adapted himself to live with these robots and help them out. Because not many people I know would be used to seeing 60-foot robots, well not 60 foot, but 10-20 foot robots transform into a car and then you can get in it and drive off. I mean, not many people have that experience, so I think the fact that they've grown his character through the film is awesome. And obviously Megan Fox being in the film is an added bonus. No one's going to complain. She's not in number 3. I'm a bit sceptical of how they're going to do that. So obviously as his long-term girlfriend, they've experienced an alien race together. I can't imagine that she'd be like, oh yeah, bye. All of a sudden, it seems a bit random. Obviously it's a money thing or something like that. She just doesn't want to do it. I can understand that, but how they're going to get that in the story, I can't really imagine. So at the moment, I mean, if they can and it runs smoothly and it runs well, then awesome. I mean, that's fair enough. I can completely stand behind them on that decision. But if they just replace her, which would be the worst case scenario I think in this, if they just thought, oh yeah, right, we can't have Megan Fox, we'll just get someone else in to play that character. If they did that, I think that would ruin it for me. I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much as I could, because obviously there's that immersion that I was talking about. In a fantasy, you want to keep that immersion. You want to feel like you can believe the story, that you can believe that this is happening. But if something like that, I don't know, it may seem a bit petty to think that, and it may seem a really small thing, but I don't know, it's just, you've got to keep that continuity to make sure that, the story flows and it's believable. But yes, I could rant about this all day, pretty much. Fantasy, everything, immersion. It's something that's really important to films like this, like X-Men, like Harry Potter, like Transformers, like most films that aren't reality, Say you got a film like Sherlock Holmes, don't really need a huge amount of immersion because it can happen. Someone like that can be that intelligent, Mission Impossible, borderline, but yeah, you can believe that people can do the things that Tom Cruise does in Mission Impossible. It's just some films where immersion's not needed, but some films where obviously something's not real and it can't happen. Well, I'm not going to say can't happen, but it's highly unlikely not to happen. The immersion factor is enormous. If you don't get that immersion right, or you don't continue it, then a lot of stuff could go wrong. So yeah, I've got a couple more films that I'm going to talk about, but this video is wrapping up quite rapidly, so I think I'm going to talk about a few more films, like future releases, in the next video. Expected to get through quite a few more than I have done in this video, but you know, I've gone off a bit, you know, a few tangents here and there, but you know, it's a topic that I like talking about. Films, obviously, it's hugely interesting. So yeah, thanks for watching this first episode on future release films. Stay tuned, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.